Unfortunately, we don't have the CDs here, but we have them in Badger. Next week, we're going to be having a 1 week long festival uh, just near the Sequoia Mountains. And we invite you all to come. But even if you can't come, we'll be sending back these CDs so that you can get them just after the festival. So the first part is the art that we did for Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, starting from the late 1960s. Paintings for his Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and other transcendental literatures. These literatures are called Shruti. That means they're coming to us by sound. The compiler and author of all these Vedic literatures, his name is Srila Vyasadeva, and we'll show you his picture in a bit. And he dictated all of these Vedic literatures to his scribe, who happens to be Ganesh. I think many of you are familiar with Ganesh, the elephant-headed demigod. He was actually Vyasadeva's secretary. And he gave a condition that I'll be your scribe as long as you never stop. So Vyasadeva just kept dictating. Vyas means diameter. Can somebody let Yuvati know that we started? She was out and about. Vyas means diameter. So diameter is what goes from the circumference of a circle, one to another, through the radius in the middle. So the middle is Radha Krishna. You saw their picture before. Here's their picture here. And their pictures are all around this room of the beautiful Stonehouse. So they are the one without a second, absolute truth. The supreme powerful and the supreme power. They are the center of all existence. Then the outer circumference of the circle can be taken as the extent of all the universe, or innumerable universes actually. So Vyasadeva touches the center of existence, Radha Krishna, and spreads the knowledge of them throughout all the universes. And that comes from sound, transcendental sound. So let's jump to the Srimad Bhagavatam, to the picture of Mahavishnu lying down in the causal ocean. As you can see, he's emanating from the original source of all existence, Krishna, who lives in his spiritual abode called Goloka Vrindavan. And from his breathing comes innumerable universes. Just like perspiration comes from one's skin, so in the same way with him, our bodies are perverted reflections of his. From the pore holes of his body emanate atomic particles of universes that develop into all the gigantic universes. So when he breathes out, all the universes come out, and when he breathes in, they all again enter his body. And he is a part of a part of a part of a part of a part. 5 times removed part of Krishna. I'd like to jump, Santi, to the other Mahavishnu, glancing over the material universe, the Durga, which is, no. Let's see. It's light blue background, and he's at the bottom, and Durga Devi's at the top. Can't see that here? There it is at the bottom.
Oh,
At
left,
the bottom row?
bottom left.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, it's described in the Srimad Bhagavatam that the Lord glanced over the material energy. First, he created the three modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And from the mode of ignorance, connecting with the false ego, he created false ego in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And from false ego in the mode of ignorance, this whole cosmic manifestation comes and is based upon that platform. So the first element that is created from false ego and the mode of ignorance is sound. And from sound comes the entire ethereal space. Can you imagine if there's no ether? Air, the wind, all the planets, all the material elements exist in ethereal space. That is space. Imagine if there's no space. Nothing else could exist. So from sound comes everything in the material world. Just like a skyscraper is a material product. We don't have to create a skyscraper from zero. There's already bricks and cement and water and metal. We hear, or somebody speaks like the supervisor of the construction company. He speaks, put this here, put that there. You're working at 8 hours a day now, and here's your money. And you combine this metal with this cement. So by sound vibration, all the relationships of the material elements come in connection with us. And by sound vibration comes the ether, and all the subtle forms of material objects exist in the ether. From the ether comes the ear and the sense of touch, which brings with it the air. And from the air, mixing with the sense of touch, mixing with the Lord's glance, over the subtle material nature comes fire, which has with it form and the sense of sight. And from that comes earth, and comes the sense of smell. And as you can see, all the material elements come from that way. Not that it was started from Darwin's evolution. At first there was this one-celled, at first there was nothing, and then there was a one-celled amoeba, and gradually it developed into seaweed and microorganisms. Actually, everything comes from Krishna in the spiritual world through his plenary portion, Mahavishnu, who lies down in what's called the ocean of cause. It's called the Karana Jal, or the causal ocean, and he's glancing over the subtle material energy, who you might know as Durga. Durga is a reflection of Srimati Radhika. You've all heard of Durga, right? So Durga states that I attain my qualities and my name from her. You know, she is the superintendent of the jailhouse of this material world. The material world is just like a jail, like an Alcatraz, and everyone in it is being punished by the three modes of material nature. Sometimes ignorance, which gives destruction, sloth, procrastination, sometimes passion, which gives creation, anxiety over the result of my activities, exploitation, sometimes goodness, which gives freedom from attachment to the result of my activities. But in this material world, goodness is always mixed with passion and ignorance. So that's Durga, the superintendent of this jailhouse of birth, old age, disease, and death. So she says that I get my qualities and my name from the original Durga. Dur means difficult, very difficult, and Gati, means attainment. Radha is very difficult to attain. She's attained by the practice of Raga Nuga Bhakti, or spontaneous love for Krishna, by chanting Hare Krishna, by being absorbed in the sound vibrations of the various spiritual mantras, glorifying Krishna, glorifying her, glorifying their associates, in a certain process of meditation on prayers and glories, which you can find in our songbooks and all the Vedic literatures that you'll see on the table in a little while. So this whole material world is the shadow energy of Radha. So sound vibration begins this material world. So in ether, which comes from material sound, all the subtle elements of the gross elements are situated, just like we see on TV. On TV, you see all subtle elements, and it's carried through the ether. Just like, suppose in Hollywood, people are making a movie. So the subtle aspects of those persons are coming through the ether into my television. And as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, whatever one thinks of at the time of death, he attains that state without fail. So the mental thoughts and activities are also situated within ether, which comes from sound. Just like when you came, maybe some of the hostesses here said to you, "Here, have a seat, take a pillow, or take a chair. You're welcome." Or you received directions from a friend on how to get here. So sound establishes our relationship with this world. Similarly, sound, if it's transcendental sound, it dissolves our relationship with the world. Just like in the Bible it says, God says, "Let there be creation," and there was creation by his sound. So similarly, transcendental sound, primarily the Hare Krishna mantra, establishes our relationship with the spiritual world. And by that transcendental sound, all spiritual facilities come, including our spiritual body, the spiritual abode where we live. Everything comes from sound. And that sound is called bhajan, meditating on the prayers, on the glorification. So sound creates our relationship with this material world, and it also creates the material world. It also destroys the material world and destroys our relationship with it, and creates our relation with the spiritual world. Let's jump now to Krishna and Arjuna. Krishna speaking to Arjuna, which is